Nice start of the day with XRP net inflows at 58.82 million, pushing up the price to $2.88. For quite some time, we haven't had more than 2 days in a row. Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP Army. Appreciate all the love that you guys show on a regular day-to-day basis. If you have not subscribed already, guys, what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button and come join the Crypto ZX Army. But looking across the board, we're seeing, a massive green day across the board once again. So pretty much since the start of the week, which pretty much started yesterday, obviously, like I said earlier, we came out of the weekend. The market so far has been doing good. As far as XRP's price is concerned, as of recording this update, let's give it a refresh live. $2.84. We're up about 0.2% in USD, down about 0.4% in Bitcoin. Comparative valuation sitting at almost $170 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume finding itself at about 4.2 billion as of recording this update. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. There we have it, guys. Market sees a 97.6% chance of a Fed rate cut this month alone. There we have it. More probability increasing based off of the preliminary data that came out yesterday, which we discussed. That obviously kind of hints that a rate cut is potentially happening, and you can see the market is thinking now about almost 100% probability that we do see a rate cut. Look at what Onchain says: it'll be a bloodbath if the rate cut doesn't get cut. And I personally think, even if the rate cut happens the day of, I think the market is going to react positively. But maybe 2 days before, we might see some choppy levels, market kind of pricing itself. And, we did see a major retracement for the price of Bitcoin from its all-time high. Part of me thinks that was due to the market kind of pricing itself for that rate cut to happen. But as of now, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, 111,800 was unable to, close the daily candle once again above 112, but still holding not bad. Obviously, we still need to look for our confirmations at 115 and 117, but so far so good. But with that being said, the chances of us pulling down still is on the table because we're not at those confirmations level. But with that being said, let's continue to take a look at what's going on today. SEC's crypto task force met with Robinhood to discuss crypto regulation and tokenized securities. On top of that, this is something that a lot of people from the XRP community are not going to be happy about. But look what Swift CIO says: banks won't trust Ripple. On LinkedIn, Swift CIO Tom Zach says, surviving lawsuits isn't resilience. Neutral shared governance is. Institutions don't want live on competitors' rails. And again, at the end of the day, these guys are competitors in a way. And of course, Swift is outdated big time, as we know, of course. So again, Ripple, this is not new for Ripple. It has gotten a lot of, hate, if you want to call it, if in the early days. But again, it's been building for 13 years plus, guys. It has a long proven record. Obviously, in terms of, going to the mass adoption level, we're already starting to see that happening just now. In terms of, North American banks, working with Ripple or using the Ripple technology, or actually corporations using the XRP ledger, that was not the case before, because of course that, in terms of the clarity aspect, it wasn't there for crypto space, and now it is. And I think this is where, that flip the switch event really takes place. We're going to see people going after Ripple, and in this case, it's a Swift CIO, but we need to take a look at the bigger picture. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. But shout out to Smoke. Bretton Woods 3.0 is coming. This is why should you expect a major reset of the global financial system. Major shifts in the financial system become possible once key players reach consensus. This is an extremely delicate matter. Central bankers are preparing the reset quietly, aware that even a public hint of a new financial system could trigger collapse of the current one. This is why informed money focused on what central bankers do, not what they say. In reality, central banks could initiate the reset and as easily as wiping out international debt on Sunday afternoon, resetting balance sheets to zero. Such a move would mark the beginning of a new financial era. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. I want to know your personal thoughts on this, but a very interesting key takeaway from Smoke. But look what Vincent says. Everyone has now woken up the fact that stablecoins will dominate the new financial systems. What people may not know yet is that the key to unlocking its value and keeping it on chain is indeed the XRP ledger. Being able to swap in and out of multiple stablecoins, but any number of asset types using any stablecoin. And I personally think XRP Ledger, if you're looking at the usability of XRP Ledger, the on-chain numbers, it has been increasing, quite a bit over the last 1 year. But I think it's nowhere near where the potential really lies. But, with the big things that are happening globally in the financial world, I think it's a start for, these entities or corporations to look into the XRP Ledger and really, look at the beauty. Remember, it's that one-stop shop. If you want to tokenize your assets, I think there's nothing better than the XRP Ledger, in my opinion, to tokenize assets. And I'm sure a lot of companies are aware. There's already some big partnerships, as we know, we have discussed, where, some of these big corporations that are coming on and actually, tokenizing their assets on the XRP Ledger, which tells you that we're already starting to see that happening. Yes, it's not at the scale where people want it to be, but it's not going to happen overnight. It takes building blocks, and I think it's definitely going to get there, in my opinion. But take a look at this. Webis International signs a strategic partnership with Air China, unlocking access to over 60 million members and introducing future XRP payment solutions for 60 million Phoenix Miles members. And we know Webis International, they have created, I think, 100 million to create a reserve within their company. I think they raised that, if I'm not mistaken. And it's one of the companies that believes in XRP native token, and that tells you that there are big entities outside of even North America that are paying attention. But with that said, let's take a look at what's happening with the price. Dominance has been sitting at 58.38%, so it has pulled down quite sharply since yesterday. But again, in the grand scheme of things, dominance is where we need it to be. Bitcoin, like I already highlighted to you guys, we got rejected at 112 once again, but we need to be above here. But so far, so good. Still baby steps, but we want to really see the 112 resistance to be turned into support. I think that could be an indication that we could start heading up to the 115k key range. But with that being said, XRP once again was able to reach $2.88, so $2.89 to be exact, not too long ago. But we have seen a retracement with Bitcoin as well. You can see Bitcoin also saw a retracement, so did XRP. But XRP is going exactly as planned, and the target, again, as I discussed with you guys last night, $2.90, and after that we can reclaim back up to our key level at $3 psychological level, and after that start heading up to the all-time high. So so far so good. XRP holding really nicely. Let me know in the comments what you guys personally think about what we've discussed. Love you all. See you later in crypto ZX, and peace out.